Hello there, Sir Daniel 1975 here. I'm here to start a new series of videos here for YouTube, and it's going to be a series called Scottish Genealogy Fantasies. Um, the purpose for me doing this is, well, first, I haven't done too many Scottish related videos in a while. Um, I have a part-time job at the Scottish Gardens Museum in Franklin, North Carolina. And I'm a third generation American of Scottish ancestry. So I do have a bit of a stake into some of this. Now, the first video on the Scottish genealogy fantasies is going to be about Sir William Wallace. Um, Obviously, he is well known to be Scotland's greatest hero and patriot in history. And one of the things that people seem to fall for when it comes to researching their genealogy, uh, they, especially if they have the Wallace name in their background at some point, they are led to believe in some capacity that they are a descendant of Sir William Wallace. Now, the truth be told, it is well known, historical documented information, that we don't know if he had any uh, legitimate children. So to go on this, it's really very shady genealogy, and anybody that um, takes genealogy seriously, and I'm not saying I'm a genealogist. Genealogist, I mean, I would consider myself more of an amateur genealogist, but anybody will tell you that when you're trying to connect the dots with your ancestors, that you need multiple sources to cross-reference with. You can't just go on a story or a one source document, because if you can't back that up with other sources, you have to consider it with a grain of salt, and it's probably not accurate. And there have been some people who have published some things making these claims, and there's not really anything out there to back up these claims. And so anybody can go on and join websites like Ancestry.com as long as you pay a fee. And all sorts of people have created false family trees and records that are on there, and a lot of people buy into this. So with that started, most of the false information on the Wallace genealogy trail has mostly to do with the version of him being the son of a Malcolm Wallace. Now, that's actually been disproven. We don't know a whole lot on the Wallaces, well, at least William Wallace and his father and whatnot, but what we do know was that there was a letter written in 1297, 1 month after the Battle of Stirling Bridge, which was on September 11th, 1297. So this letter was written on October 11th, and it's about, well, anyway, the thing that really is very extraordinarily significant in this, there was information in the letter itself that we knew, and it was about claiming, let me see if I pull it up here, um, that the ports would be safe for the merchants who were trading with Scotland, and this had to do with after the Battle of Stirling Bridge, with William Wallace and Andrew Murray having a extraordinarily decisive win against the English. But what was so extraordinarily significant once people decided to take a closer look at the letter were the wax seals on it. And on one side, this side right here, let's see if there's a larger picture of it. That is basically a shield with the lion ramp, or the rampant lion, in the middle of it. Okay, and that's basically the arms for royalty in Scotland. And then the other side, which is a bow, an arm pulling an arrow, and this is very hard to read in this picture, but it has been analyzed, and this is what it says, and this is Latin for William, son of Alan Wallace. And yes, this letter was written by William Wallace, which is one of the other significant things. And we clearly, from the letter, we can tell that he was an extraordinarily educated man, had excellent penmanship, and we now know that his father his name was Alan, not Malcolm. So this throws out all the misconception and false narratives on being the son of Malcolm Wallace, and then of course the whole married to Marion Braidfoot is probably a complete story as well. So we don't know who or if he was married to anyone. We don't know if he legitimately had any children. Now, he was a military man, and he might have fathered children illegitimately during his campaigns as basically a military general of sorts. This is basically what his role was in the Scottish army. It's possible, but we don't know. So to make these claims that anyone is the descendant of William Wallace is very hard to back up. Now, this is a reply I made on a thread on Ancestry.com, and somebody was throwing out that claim, and I'm not going to get into it and expose the person's name and potentially embarrass them and whatnot. But it's out there. If you do a Yahoo or a Google search on Sir William Wallace genealogy or Sir William Wallace Braveheart genealogy, you will find a link to the thread, and you can read it yourself. I'm not going to post the link myself. You can do the search yourself and find what I had said. But this is probably the most popular tale that people tell as far if they are a Scottish descendant and have the name Wallace in their background. They have been led to believe in some capacity by certain sources, whether they be a person they've met, an uncredited author, or a genealogical source, they have come to believe that they are a descendant of William Wallace, and it's simply not true. And you can't all be the same. I mean, almost everyone with the surname Wallace seems to believe, at least most do, that they are a descendant of William Wallace, and that is just simply preposterous. So anyway, this is a very important deal, this letter. And I believe it was in the late 90s that they actually had looked at the seal and come up with the information. So this has been some pretty common knowledge for roughly around 15 years that William Wallace's father was Alan Wallace and not Malcolm Wallace. So anyone who is still perpetuating the blind Harry narrative that his father was Malcolm Wallace and he was married to Marion Braidfoot, you are perpetuating false information. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up with that. Um, there's quite a lot of information about this on the internet. There has been some documentaries. One was even on the History Channel called The True Story of Braveheart. And it has a lot of it in there. And that was, I believe, produced in the late 90s. So anyway, like I said, I'll wrap it up with this. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all on the flip side.